Well, there seems to be a lot of negativity around Xbox right now. We're going to be diving into all of that and say, is it all that bad? I mean, it's certainly bad for some people in the industry, but it's not just Xbox. Other companies are going through layoffs and stuff like that. What's happening to the gaming world? Is there anything new? Anyway, we'll be talking about all of that, and I have a ton of news because I wasn't here last week. So hold on to your horses. Let's roll the title.
It's the Monday Game Chat with
Yokoso, Yokoso, Yokoso. Arigato gozaimasu. Welcome to the Monday Game Chat. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. Last week I wasn't here because it was the Monday bank holiday and national sort of public holiday, first Monday of May and all of that. But we're back with a vengeance, a whole collection of interesting news stories, which I shall be sharing with you and getting your input, because after all, it is the Monday Game Chat. And you, ladies and gentlemen, are up front, scoring the chat, as it were, delivering the chat and all of that. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. As ever, let me know what games you've been playing last week or last 2 weeks and all of that. Put it in the chat because I like to hear about it and all of that. And we can talk about it and any questions or just anything gaming wise. Let's get talking about it. Put it in the chat and all of that. And of course, hit the likes. That's Jerome always seems to remind everybody. Thank you very much, Jerome, because I like it. YouTube likes it and helps people like you find content like this. Let's go early doors. See who's in the chat. Obviously, we know who's first, don't we? Jerome, good to see you, sir. Sanchez, yo, Clive, how you doing? Al Davis Music, good to see you there. As ever. It almost feels like Stadia right now. That's interesting. Gaming layoffs are everywhere, not just Xbox. Exactly. And we'll be touching on that as well. Games I've been playing, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I suddenly started playing a lot of Sea of Thieves last week because obviously PlayStation players jumped on board Sea of Thieves, and I sort of began to find my love for it a bit. Although I must admit I didn't meet many people sailing around, so I had quite a sort of simple pleasure sailing around, just doing a few simple missions. And it was quite relaxing, actually. It's quite relaxing when you're not running away from people and stuff like that. But also, I played Honkai Star Rail. I was curious. What's it all about? It's funny, I was doing some research, trying to get some clips and stuff for my GeForce Now news, because obviously Honkai Star Rail is available on GeForce Now platform. And I came across a whole live concert of Honkai Star Rail. I still don't quite get it. It seems a lot of the characters have songs. And in this live concert, you get this giant video screen with the main characters, many characters, usually, the girly characters, singing songs. I don't get it. Although it is a fun game, although I can imagine it getting quite repetitive. I seem to just be in a kind of, it's like a sort of a card battle game, but great graphics, pretty straightforward. My controller died on me, which meant I had to play it with keyboard. And actually, makes you realise it is actually a keyboard type game. These are designed for keyboard, actually, and it's quite easy to play with keyboard. I don't really normally like playing games with the keyboard, especially like FPSs and stuff, but JRPG like this, perfect. Keyboard's much better than controllers, it turns out. I'm a complete noob to the sort of Honkai. I'm aware of these kind of games. I don't always play them, but I just thought I'd give it a test since it's free, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're into sort of JRPG type things like that and battle games, card battle games and stuff like that. I think it's pretty good. Square Enix only released multi-platform now. Will be coming that, of course. I've been playing Those Who Remain, looking forward to RE Village dropping on GFN. Fingers crossed. Jerome was against all the acquisitions by Microsoft from the beginning. Good for you. Neil, lovely to see you. And of course, Jonas, I did say hello. So hello to you, sir. Good to see you. Excuse me. Let's start off then. Top of the hour, top of the news. So earlier last week or so, there's a certain irony with this article here in The Verge. Today, one day after Microsoft announced it would shut down 4 gaming studios. So Microsoft shuts down Bethesda studios behind Redfall and Hi-Fi Rush. He sent an email, so Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, sent an email to Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks. And the reason for closures were down to reprioritization of titles and resources. Redfall developer Arcane will close, with some members of the team joining our studios to do work on projects across Bethesda. Oh, bang my finger there. Apologies. Servers will remain online for online players to enjoy. So Redfall, of course, Redfall had a bit of a stumbled launch. And that's the price you pay when you put a lot of eggs, when you bet big, which is a lot of what sort of, that's the risk with, in the developing and in the gaming world. And this is nothing new. Redundancies, closures, rapid expansion and then rapid contraction. Because the reason, that big bets are made, yeah? And sometimes those big bets don't come off. And, Redfall was meant to be a big, a lot of hype around it. And, it didn't deliver. And it's no good delivering, 6 months later, 12 months later, after all the hype around the kind of game, it's gone. And especially when you put all your eggs in that basket. And, that is a prime example of what happens. Redfall stumbles. They put a lot of hype around it. And, closing Arcane Austin Studios as a result. And then, of course, the surprising thing is, Tango Gameworks, Hi-Fi Rush, ironically enough, really critically well-received game, went straight to Shadow Drop, went straight to Xbox Game Pass. But in of itself, if no new products are coming out of the studio or nothing in development, and they're looking to make cutbacks, that's what happens. When big corporations want to make cutbacks, the first places they look is like, have any new projects actually started? Or have we crossed the Rubicon, as it were, of a certain project? You always have to make that decision. Have we already spent too much money on this game, on this project? What's the right decision? Or is it early doors and we could just shutter the, developer, whatever? And that's clearly what's happened to not Hi-Fi Rush, Tango Gameworks. And of course, the irony is, as we read here, Microsoft says it needs games like Hi-Fi Rush. Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, held a town hall to discuss the division's future goals. We need smaller games that give us prestige and awards. And ironically, that's exactly what Hi-Fi Rush did. It was a shadow drop and everyone was sort of wowed by it. Wow, this is a cool game. It was really well executed game, really cool, a little bit different, nice design. Yeah. And the great thing, of course, it was coming from a Japanese developer, which is something Xbox really needs to sort of make inroads in fostering and developing an Xbox culture with Japanese developers. We see so many Japanese developers who just automatically create a game and it just goes to PlayStation, because that's the normal thing. It's like this is how they think. They just, you're making a game, yeah. Who are you making it for? Well, PlayStation, yeah. But obviously in Japanese. So yeah, it's a real shame that Tango Gameworks is suffering from that. You know, it won to win a game award, a Game Developers Choice Award, and a BAFTA. Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations. We couldn't be happier with the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release. This was a year ago. A year ago, they were saying Hi-Fi Rush, a breakout hit for them. Critically, they're saying hit all the measurements and expectations, but that's not enough to save the developer. It's not, it's because they're having to make cuts, not necessarily because Tango Gameworks aren't performing. It's just overall the corporation's got to make cuts. There'll be a criteria which qualifies for closures, and if a developer is not that far down the line of a new project, they're the ones that might, get the axe. And that's, I think, is what's sort of happened. But as I said, it's not all it's not all Xbox, Today, we've got Square Enix. Square Enix. According to Video Games Chronicle here, Square Enix confirms US EU layoffs as part of restructuring. Publishing it and Square Enix collective indie games label are affected. Set to make unconfirmed number of layoffs as part of ongoing company restructuring, it told staff in an internal meeting. The company's American and European arms would be hit with layoffs, which will happen over the course of next month. This is at exactly the time, we'll go on here, that the layoffs coincided with the publication of the company's quarterly financial results, which weren't that good, hence the restructuring, and where it said its plans to rebuild overseas business divisions from the ground up, and has begun optimizing costs at its European and American offices via structural reforms, i.e. redundancies. And early today, Square Enix published a new medium-term business plan here. So as part of this restructuring, Square Enix will make AAA games multi-platform. Obviously, Square Enix has a good relationship with PlayStation. Most of their games, kind of go straight to PlayStation. But there's a parallel here. Just like Xbox sees, or Microsoft sees, the value in making sure your big game is on as many platforms as possible, because that's going to generate you more revenue than making it an exclusive, which is not going to get you enough subscribers to justify you not putting it on a platform with a much greater reach like PlayStation. Hence, that's what we've seen with Sea of Thieves and Grounded and stuff like that. Square Enix are taking the same approach. It's not coincidence that these companies, both these companies' strategies, Xbox, Microsoft, and Square Enix, are right now are similar. So I think that's the way it's going. It's as I talked before on this platform, it's, on this podcast, call it what you will, it's becoming less about the console and more about where can you play the games, like as many places. It's not about restricting people playing your game. It's like, wait a minute, there is a gazillion players on multiple platforms. How do we get to all those players rather than just restrict ourselves? And that seems to be planned. You do it by making broad, big, blockbuster games with broad appeal. Now, you may or may not agree with that as a stance, but that's what Square Enix looks like they're trying to do. AAA games, multi-platform. Not all the games, but specifically AAA games. Give them broad appeal and put them across as many platforms as possible. It's all part of their aggressive new business platform business plan. The plan, which the publisher has dubbed Square Enix Reboots and Awakens, lays out a 3-year strategy. I mean, if you're lucky, that's one game that will lead to long-term growth. One of the 4 pillars of this plan, which involves strengthening customer contact points, i.e. making your game available on as many platforms as possible. We will aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy that includes Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and PCs. By doing this, it'll build an environment where more customers can enjoy our titles in regards to major franchises and AAA titles, including catalog titles. It clearly doesn't pay to just restrict your AAA title to one platform, even if that, I would argue, is PlayStation. You are cutting off a major revenue strain, major revenue source. I mean, it's more so the other way. If you're not releasing on PlayStation, you're cutting off an even larger revenue source. That's why Call of Duty was never ever going to be exclusive to Xbox. As a result of the Activision Blizzard deal, make no financial sense at all. It has to shift from quantity to quality. We've heard that before. You hear it in all industries. I've heard it in my industry. Fewer, bigger, better. That's what we used to say, my company. Fewer, bigger, better. Doesn't always work out that way. You've still got to do small indie games or small, indie projects and stuff like that. But you have a finite amount of money. You don't have a bottomless pit. So it's better to maybe do fewer games, but make them bigger and better. Launch titles that ensure excitement, exactly, big AAA game, will ensure excitement that will bolster loyalty to our brand. Square Enix, that's their thing. It's all about the brand. Placing top priority on bringing smiles to our customers' faces and to keep and build on the fan bases for our major franchises by regularly releasing AAA titles, sequels in other words. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's happening across the industry. I think also even Take-Two, Rockstar, potentially reducing the scope of some of their developers and investment. For them, it'll all be about Grand Theft Auto 6 and, re-releasing Red Redemption PC, the original Red Redemption on PC, which is rumored to be happening. Right, I'm going to go back to the news. It's not all bad news for Xbox, hopefully. There's always, with these sort of things, a lot of negativity around, on the old Twitter sphere, the old Twitter sphere. But Xbox does have a showcase. So they have an opportunity to sort of redeem themselves. Xbox Games Showcase airs on June the 9th. So in about a month's time, less than a month's time, followed by a Call of Duty Direct. Microsoft is officially holding its big Xbox Summer Showcase on the 9th. 6 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And also, Call of Duty. Microsoft is only teasing the Call of Duty Direct as the next installment of a beloved franchise. But sources familiar with the company's plan tell me this is indeed Call of Duty. This will be the first Xbox showcase featuring games across Activision Blizzard, Bethesda, and Microsoft Xbox Game Studios. I understand Microsoft is currently planning to announce a new Gears of War game. I hope it's a big AAA and not a spin-off game. The showcase will include a number of release dates for upcoming Xbox games like Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, Avowed, Indiana Jones and The Great Circle. We're also likely to get an update on when the big Shattered Space DLC expansion for Starfield comes, which is meant to be coming in full time. So Microsoft is supposed to have a lot of games to show this year, more than the 2023 showcase. 2023 showcase was okay in terms of the games that were coming. Whether the games delivered or not is a different kettle of fish. But we should expect to hear how when things are getting released in 2024 and how the lineup of 2025 is looking, with some launch dates for some anticipated Xbox games. There is a chance for Xbox to sort of turn some of this negativity around, turn that frown upside down, as it were. Let's see. I mean, if there is a big Gears 6 reveal, I think that'll be a bit of a positive thing. Let us know. Let me just check something here. You see me throw the phone across the room, you'll see. Okay. Boring. Right. Yeah. So it's not all doom and gloom. There is an opportunity if they announced Gears 6. That'd be quite a big thing. Let us see what you lot have been saying in the old chat. Sanchez is playing. I'm playing Jedi Survivor. I'm drawn to it. I'm drawn to it since it's on Game Pass, Yay, Geek the Sneak. Good to see you. I bought Star Wars The Force Unleashed for the Wii. Excellent, Jerome. People hated Redfall. Now they want Redfall 2. Yeah, exactly. Redfall was trash when it was released. Yeah. It did feel incomplete. That's the thing. It ultimately failed and missed its opportunity. Exactly. And, very few games find redemption when you put all that marketing noise around a launch and then it's sort of just like one of those sort of comedy cannonballs that sort of just rolls out the top of the cannon instead of firing off. It's very hard to sort of push the cannonball back in the cannon and then relight it and go, no, watch everybody, it's going to be a really big bang. Too late. Now, there have been examples where games have sort of redeemed themselves. I want to say that's... Oh, I'm going to say that. My brain's gone dead again because I'm getting old. Hello Games is... Space Game is an example of that. Yeah. But generally, it's not just games. I mean, arguably, Stadia had a stumbled launch and it never recovered. And so it's not just... It's true of many a product that is launched and then stumbles. Same with games. I don't understand the closing of Gameworks. No, well, I tend to... Well, I get where you're coming from, Geek the Sneak, but having been in the corporate world, which can be quite harsh when it comes to making, big, bold decisions, it may have fallen foul of the criteria on which to shut studios. And that may be that they weren't working on anything, or they weren't far enough down the line on working on anything that justified keeping them there. Creatively, absolutely, it makes no sense. Yeah. Creatively, surely after the success of Hi-Fi Rush, you want to keep them. But sometimes the accountants don't think creatively, they just think numbers, and it just becomes like a numerical criteria on a piece of paper, and the accountants have no idea, just put the line through it. No, that doesn't fulfill the criteria. And sometimes creativity doesn't have a place when it comes to these decisions. And that's the only thing I can think of, because creatively, why would you, reward success, critically acclaimed success with closure. The graphics look pretty good for Redfall. Yeah, although it came out at like, there was just so much sort of bad. It only takes a small, once the bad negativity, we see it especially in gaming. It's not just gaming, but once bad negativity comes out, everybody's jumping on every slightest thing. And suddenly it's only 30 frames per second, or it's only that. Whereas if it looks stunning and amazing and being a good game, people would be going, well, 30 frames per second, it doesn't really matter. It's fine. It looks great. But once the knives are out for something, people just find anything to pull it apart. It's like a village mob out there, especially on the old kind of social media circles and Reddit and whatnot. I mean, there's such a village mob mentality on the internet in general. And the slightest hint of failure or negativity, and everyone's piling in. Yeah, everyone loves a witch hunt. And that's what happened. I played it. It was all right. It was okay. Didn't do anything, but it didn't excite me, but it was all right. Hi-Fi Rush was too niche. I love the look of Hi-Fi Rush, but you're right. It's like I played a bit of it. I love the look of it. I love the graphical style of it. But it wasn't my, I was going to say it wasn't my cup of tea, but you just said that, Neil. It wasn't my cup of tea either. But I loved the look of it. Just wasn't my sort of game that I'd want to keep playing it. But I like what it was doing. It's part of Microsoft's strategy to buy the competition and shut it down. Let's hope not. Tango was Xbox's foot in the door in Japan. No longer. I mean, they're a small developer, but certainly it was making the right noises and sending the right noises to Japan and investing in, developers and stuff. Matt Booty had to reduce budget and made difficult decision. No one likes losing their jobs. Hi-Fi was good. They should release it on Nintendo Switch. Exactly. When the 360 launched, Xbox had 300 employees. Wow. Now they had 30,000 or that, yeah. Tango was losing money. That's why Bethesda was on sale. Yeah, fingers crossed we get more day-and-date Square Enix games at GFN. Well, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully this kind of, trying to be on as many platforms as possible as a kind of, the strategy of big gaming companies now is a benefit to GFN, where people suddenly see the sense. We just want people to play our games. We know enough about cloud gaming now. We don't have to kind of hold our cards close to our chest and, not give away the cloud gaming rights just in case, we as a company might suddenly go into cloud gaming. No, I think that ship has passed. It's like you're leaving money on the table, or off the table, is it where you're leaving money off the table if you're not getting your games on GeForce Now, because people want to play it and they want to play the game the best it can look. And on GeForce Now Ultimate, you're pretty close to the best it can look. There we are. I wish I'd read that. I wish I'd read this comment before I answered the question, but there we are, yeah. So hopefully this strategy does bode well for GFN. Redfall was terrible. Hi-Fi was good, but it didn't sell. No, well, that's the thing. It was a great game. Sometimes critically acclaimed games get all the plaudits, like a great indie movie or whatever. But that doesn't always equate to sales. And the fact it was on Game Pass, most people played it because it was on Game Pass. Would you rush out and buy Hi-Fi Rush? So yeah, it won awards, but maybe it didn't make the money. Yeah, currently the best-selling PS5 is an Xbox game, Sea of Thieves. Exactly. I read last week that like someone, like they're in their top 5 bestsellers with 2 Xbox games, PlayStation games, or on the PlayStation platform. 2 of the games were previously Xbox exclusives. Buy Square Enix AAA games, not Game Pass next day one. Yeah. PS exclusivity for Forspoken ends in Jan 2025. Shame it wasn't multi-platform upon release. It would have fared a lot better. And that's the thing. And I think, you know what? I think PlayStation will be one of the last people to jump on the strategy of a multi-platform approach. Because for them, it's less acute. It's less of an issue. Because they have the arrogance of being the, you know, biggest selling AAA console platform. I mean, you could argue about Switch, but maybe they will catch up and think, actually, yeah, what value the exclusive nowadays going forward? I think the game industry is in trouble. I don't think it's in trouble. I think to be honest, this is nothing new. They play big, they bet big, they lose big, but they keep going. They keep coming back. You know, I've been the product of, you know, games industry contraction. I was made redundant when I was in the gaming industry. I was made redundant because they decided to take a completely different strategy. And yeah, the performance of the games that had been released weren't stellar enough, didn't meet the expectation. The deal that we did, you know, they didn't reach the level required to justify the deal that we'd done. And that's the result. Third-party games should never be console exclusive. Saturated with games that are expensive to make, too expensive. I think you're right. I think they've got into this sort of AAA games that suddenly you have to spend all this money. And people are making bigger and bigger bets. And the more of these bigger bets that are made, the more people... There's only a finite amount of games that you're going to buy at $70 or whatever it is, at $80. And so, you know, we see it in the film industry. You know, studios have gone down and under because they've made massive bets on films and then they've just not delivered. And I think you're right. The bets are getting bigger. GFN selling out day one in Japan has opened the big publisher's eyes. Fingers crossed. Yeah, that'd be great. Stadia come back. Get GTA 6. I think Google have got other fish to fry right now. I don't think Xbox can fix the mess. It's interesting because I think Xbox will just, you know, Xbox is Microsoft's gaming brand, not its gaming platform. Its gaming brand, and I think that's the way it will go. But yeah, they're making as much money as Windows according to financial reports. Yeah, they've got big pockets. Doom Year Zero. The only issue has been Hi-Fi Rush, but they still own the IP, so they can make a sequel eventually. Yeah, and maybe, ironically, they'll hire the team because a lot of the leadership team of Tango Gameworks went off and started a new developer. Maybe they'll... And that's the thing. It's how do you get this off our books? Yeah? And then 2 years down the line, the company, you know, the corporation starts growing again, starts acquiring again, and you just think, well, you just made loads of people redundant 3 years ago, and now you're expanding again. And so it contracts and expands because they have to deliver. You know, at the end of the day, big corporations have to deliver to the shareholders. And a lot of that, there's an element of short-termism in. And you see rapid expansion, especially in the tech industry. You see it at Google, see it at Amazon, Microsoft. Rapid expansion with a new exciting latest thing. And then, oh my God, we're not delivering the numbers necessary. Simple answer. Rapid contraction. Then we need to start building out again. Rapid contraction. And it just becomes this sort of cycle. Whereas if you were wiser and had a longer term plan, you would expand more slowly make slight, smaller adjustments, expand more slowly, rather than this sort of elastic band that big corporations, but because they're having to try to deliver to their shareholders and the shareholders demanding bigger and bigger payouts, you get this rapid expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. And the people that suffer are the workers. Up the workers. Square Enix said they're done with PS exclusives, going to put games on every platform. Exactly. I put 49 hours into Redfall. Good for you. It was a good game, just not groundbreaking. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It was a good game. I say double A, but it didn't move the needle. Twitch, Reddit was always track. Exactly. That's what I was saying. Reddit, as I learned with, Stadia, not just Reddit, but Reddit is a prime example. Reddit is the front line almost of the internet. Reddit, to me, is just a bunch of torch-carrying villages. Yeah? And it just takes the mob to turn. It just makes a small thing. And once the mob gets going on Reddit, everyone's too cool for school. Nobody's there to say, no, hey, let's be cool. Let's give it a chance. No. It's like, yay! Riot! Let's go for it! Let's dig it. Let's trash it. And everyone pile in. Let's pile in. The same was the same with Stadia. And, yeah, sure, look, Stadia deserved a lot of the trashing it got. But it's just a prime example of once the negativity's there, the internet just piles in. And Redfall was an example of that. I imagine GFN will have stats, yeah. And they will probably provide them in their decks, in their presentations that they do. To be honest, I'm not sure to what degree they court publishers. I mean, we've sort of seen evidence because they make big announcements about Capcom. I wonder who it is has that job. I'd love that job. I'd like to do the deals for the publishers. So they must have a person who's doing that, trying to get publishers on board rather than them sitting around hoping that developers and publishers will just opt in. You need somebody aggressively, and rather than saying, oh, what games are coming up? And then, saying, would you like to be on GFN? No, you need to be a bit more strategic than that and actually court and work with, big publishers and say, look, we'll get all your products on, like we're seeing with Capcom and stuff like that. Do you think Clockwork Revolution can release 1 to 2 months after Hellblade 2? No idea, to be honest. Could be here Fallout 5 sooner. Yeah. Given the success of it on Amazon Prime, the TV series, a lot of interest. A lot of people have gone back. Massive amounts of people have gone back playing it. My GeForce Now video I did a few weeks ago announcing Fallout 4 coming to GeForce Now, still getting viewers, even though it was a topical news summary from 3 weeks ago. But because it's got Fallout, it's far exceeded most of my other GeForce Now roundups, all because of Fallout. And that's indicative of how popular Fallout is right now. I think a lot of people will be eating the words when you see the games coming out very soon and showcases being aired in the next month or so. I think you're right. You might be right, Caseball. I think 2022 we saw a dearth, and slightly a product of COVID. And I think that eked into 2023 to a certain degree. The disease effect, as it were. So 2024 and 2025, I think we see the games that have been fully worked on over the last 2 to 3 years arriving. So, Caseball, I think you're right. And of course, Ubisoft have got a showcase coming up. Boosteroid added Max Payne 3. Interesting. AC Shadows, exactly. We shall be coming to that. But I want to talk some interesting stuff as well. So we've talked about it a lot on this channel, but finally, X-Defiant, just make sure pre-season X-Defiant arrives. No more beta testing, no more alpha testing. The real thing, the fast arena shooter you've been waiting for is almost here. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, a week tomorrow, the pre-season on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Ubisoft Connect, PC, which means surely GeForce Now. Yeah, surely it's on it's Ubisoft, so it's going to be on GeForce Now. X-Defiant. Finally. There's no stalling now. There's no pulling out. There's no delaying the release now. We're a week away. So looking forward to that. I did enjoy it. We'll be live on May the 21st. Let's hope their servers can cope. 14 maps. Wow, 14 maps. 10 arenas, 4 progressions, 5 factions, 5 modes, 24 weapons. Pre-season begins at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time on May the 21st. Let me know if you'll be playing X-Defiant, and secondly, what platform do you think you'll be playing it on if you are going to be playing X-Defiant? Be interested to know. Now, I do love a fun FPS. And I also love if you can see behind the chat, Funkos. Little Funkos. I say I love them. My kids used to love them. I feel like I'm going to change my background because I feel it's a bit childish. This is my work background as well. Everybody's always commenting on, oh, you're a YouTuber, you're a gamer, whenever I'm doing, Zoom calls at work or whatever. And I'm thinking, actually, my background is looking a bit childish, maybe. A man of my stature, a man of my age. But anyway, I put the Funkos there because they used to be my kids. And they've sort of grown out of them, and so I sort of grabbed them and put them in there as part of the aesthetic, the gamer aesthetic. But I'm thinking, really a grown man with Funkos. I need to have a conversation myself. You can't really see them because they're behind the chat. Anyway, enough of that. This is what I wanted to show you. So this is quite cool because it's a bit like a Lego game, where they've acquired the IPs, various IPs, TV IPs, gaming IPs, film IPs, so that you can play as lots of different characters. I don't know if there's, I can't remember if there's music on here. That's why I've not left it. So you've got all they've acquired the IP for all these sort of different gaming, film, and TV IP that they already acquired for the actual Funkos themselves, the pop figures. But now, I'll move it forward. It's basically, and you're going to see what they've got, a kind of FPS type game with Funko figures. You got Jurassic World, Umbrella, the Scott Pilgrim, The Thing, Mars, Hot Fuzz. They are Funko Fusion. There and obviously huge potential. Shaun of the Dead, Jaws, Chucky, Voltron, Scott Pilgrim, Knight Rider, just loads and loads of IP. This is coming on September the 13th. I think it looks kind of cool. I'll certainly give it a go. Depends how much it is, I guess, because I'm a bit tight like that. But also huge potential. There's the Back to the Future car up there. Huge potential for just adding, new IP, or not new IP, adding existing IP or adding extra IP. Let's say that they've already got the rights for the Funko figures. Anyway, it's a fun game. But the fun games don't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no. Another game which I've mentioned on here before. Let me just find it here. Starfield update is coming on May. Let me just update this quickly. But there's another fun game I want to talk about, which I think is equally super cool. But before we get to that, not to say that Starfield is not super cool. It's not really super cool, but it's fun. It's cool, but not super cool. Starfield Update 4 is coming on May the 15th, and we'll have a 60 frames per second performance mode for Xbox Series X. New gameplay options that allow you to change every aspect from enemy damage to carry weight. Dual camera toggle. Lots of bug fixes. Ship decoration mode, so you can place furniture, decorate your ships, and all of that. But most important here is the 60 FPS coming on Xbox Series X. Again, I think they've just given up on the kind of parity with Xbox Series S. Just accept the reality of that. But a lot of people, expected 60 FPS when it came out. Not that it really mattered given the nature of the game, personally. It's very much a narrative story game. It's not, 30 FPS is fine, but nice to have 60 FPS. Right, about this other game. Okay, here it is. Let me just have a get the right one here. Right. We're gonna listen to this one. This is coming up, and this is the announcement. This is developed by a tiny studio of 6 guys. I'm just going to put my headphones on this one if I can hear it, and then we'll take that over.
Would be to make. I've had to redo it over and over, but I think I'm just going to have to go with it. But after after 2 years of working extremely hard on our action figure game, Hypercharge Unboxed, I am proud to announce
means a lot to him.
Launching on Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One on May the 31st, 2024. This has been this has been such a journey for us. We have worked so hard. We have worked extremely hard to bring this game on Xbox. And Xbox does tell us to power our dreams. And that is exactly what we've done with this game. We made it for you guys. We didn't succumb to pressure. We didn't rush launch. We worked very, very hard to make this game. So I'm going to switch to the trailer now. I hope you enjoyed the trailer, and just thank you to everybody who supported us through this journey. Thank you.
That's what game development means to some people. If you're a small indie like these guys, there's only 6 of them. They're like mates who got together. They had a vision and a dream to build a game that they wanted. You can see how much it means. That's passion. And you don't get that necessarily in a corporate environment. And yet you need that passion to be the big AAA developers of the future, the big ideas of the future. Anyway, the game, I think, is pretty cool. Play it. Wait for it.
What are you waiting for? Welcome to the world
This is the game.
Charge. Explore, defend, survive. Play single player with bots or co-op and split screen with friends. And best of all, customize your action figure. Come on, get in game!
Oh, I didn't.
There you go. I think I've shown an early teaser for the game on this show before, but yeah, I came across this video and I could see like how passionate he was. The guy's in tears, bless him, quite emotional, which means he's put his heart and soul into this game. But forget that, it exactly. It's got a very Toy Soldiers vibe to it, and yeah, what a great concept. Let's hope it delivers, because a bit like the Funko thing, but there's a certain nostalgic appeal of living out your action toy dreams. Like, when you're a kid, you might sort of be playing random action toys from effectively different IPs and smashing them together, and but here you could play there's a story campaign, there's multiplayer, like 4 split screen as well. They've taken a real nostalgic approach to sort of gaming, in the fact that like GoldenEye, one of the great things about GoldenEye was the split screen. They're adding that. There's multiplayer across online as well, so potentially a lot of fun. And it's interesting that it's coming out on Xbox Series X and S and Xbox. And there was a bit of flack. Somebody said your game, which he responded to, you can pre-order it now, so it's not coming on Xbox Game Pass. And somebody quite meanly said, "Oh, your game's going to die if it's not on Xbox Game Pass. No one's going to play it." I thought it was a bit, mean. They mightn't have had the choice. Xbox said, "Yeah, we'll publish it," but maybe didn't want it on Game Pass. But anyway, when I was a little kid, my dream was to make a game about action figures with my best friends. Well, May the 31st, 2024, Hypercharge will launch. Let me know anyway in the chat below what you think. Message him, get it on PC and opt in for GFN. Yeah. I think it's a really cool concept. I love that. I love the idea. Let's hope that it delivers, it plays. I mean, in fairness, as I said, there's only 6 of them when they developed it over the last 2 years. Let's hope it delivers, and it plays, because that's always the thing about these games. They can look pretty good in the trailer, and you get a sense of it, the same with that Funko game. Let's hope that it plays as good as it looks. As good as we think it should play, put it that way. Let's catch up with you lot. X-Defiant and Hellblade 2 released on the same day. Oh my God, choices. GFN should send Darren Brown to Vince Rock. Yeah, exactly. Look into my eyes. Look around. Not around my eyes, into my eyes. Yeah, that kind of thing. Single player or co-op game? I don't know. I'm not familiar with Clockwork Revolution, Jonas. I'm not a fan of Funkos. Graphics look pretty cool. Yeah. Wow. Hi all. Hey, Crow. How you doing? Wow. Yeah. It does look cool. It does look cool. They need to get a deal with Hasbro and Mattel to get the royal... Yeah, imagine that. Imagine a He-Man... Oh, yeah, exactly. there's the potential. That's exactly the irony is in the Funko Fusion game, they have got the character rights for the Funko. It's a bit like Lego. Lego had acquired the construction toy rights to Star Wars, but they didn't have the video game rights of the construction toys. Yeah. So that was one of my jobs. I had to acquire the video games license of the construction toy elements. So basically expand the construction toy rights to video games so that you could then make Lego Star Wars. And that's sort of what the Funko Fusion is all about. They have the, big head character rights to various IP, but they probably didn't have the gaming rights to the big head doll character rights. And so they probably would have had to expanded those rights. But I think it's great. I think there's real potential of it. I mean, my son has so many, he doesn't now because he's, 14 dad now. But that's why half his Funkos are there. Get him out of my bedroom. Too old for him now. But he loved collecting all the Fortnite characters in Funko form. So I think there's a real, potential there. So real potential. And I think with the Hypercharge game, there's a real, I think there's potentially a real nostalgic vibe there as well. Anyway, there you go. Thought I'd just share that with you, ladies and gentlemen. What's next up on the menu? It's boring. Won't do that one. I'm going to jump here to... This is talking of retro gaming. I used to love this game in the arcade. Okay. Dance Dance Revolution, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it seems there is a playable Dance Dance Revolution arcade mini console. I wish it was not a mini console. I tell you what, if I could have a Dance Dance Revolution console, full size, I don't know, actually, where would I put it? Because they're usually double width. If I could have a full size Dance Dance Revolution. Anyway, this is a mini version. I better take the noise off because I'll get copyright struck on it. Advert, of course. But basically, Konami and Japanese hardware manufacturer Zuki has announced that Dance Dance Revolution Classic Mini, a fully functional portable replica. Here we go. I wish I could play you the music. It's so frenetic. But I used to love Dance Dance Revolution in the arcade. I also surprise people. So this is a mini version. Okay, and at first you watch the trailer and you sort of think, well, how big is it? Yeah, show me how big it is. That's what she said. And it's literally desk size, but it's a workable version. And you'll see here, you can plug it in, yeah, to your TV. There we go. You plug it into your TV, and then look, you sort of, oh no, there is a, oh, wait a minute, I didn't see that bit. I thought it was just the, I didn't see that bit. Wait a minute. There's an actual floorboard, a dance board to go, okay, I thought it was just these little pads. So you'd use your fingers, which is a bit like, that's not really the point. Dance Dance Revolution. You've got to be... This would keep me fit. It'd get my heart rate up. Yes. And then we can put it on the side. I'd love it. It's like $315. I'm curious now. Right now, though, the problem is... there's no confirmation of a US launch or European launch. It'll include 40 plus songs from the first 3 Dance Dance Revolution games. I think I had Dance Dance Revolution on the PlayStation 2. And then I bought a mat. Trouble is the mat kept slipping. That was my excuse. It will be bundled with a pair of DDR mat-styled controllers, small enough to be played using one's hands. Those who would rather play the game on a larger screen with their feet can connect a regular dance mat. Oh, you have to buy the regular dance mat. That's fine. Just don't buy a cheap plastic one. Get one that's heavy and sits on the floor. But let me know if you ever played Dance Dance Revolution. Come on, be honest. Great score! Keep going! All of that. Let me know what you think. Can Xbox release play from own library after showcase? Maybe there will be some games released on the showcase. Hopefully they'll play your own library. I'll be happy to see if we can get a Cloud Direct control. It'll be totally over the moon. Yeah, play your own library. Imagine that. Right, there we are. So yeah, that's it's interesting because years and years ago there was a documentary. I remember it so vividly. It was in the early, before BBC Three, which was like BBC's youth channel for those that aren't in the UK. It started off as BBC Choice. I think it was BBC Choice. If it wasn't on that, it was probably on Channel 4. But it was a documentary about this guy from Leicester, ordinary guy, used to hang out at the arcade. He was like 16, 17, hang out at the arcade, and he was obsessed with Dance Dance Revolution. And he was really good at it. And it basically followed him to the local finals, national finals, and finally the international, like, world championship. This guy, he didn't, like a lot of the Dance Dance Revolution professionals from like Japan and America, they had money and bought themselves Dance Dance Revolution actual arcade machines for their, basement or garage or whatever in America, where you got the size to put them, and practice day and day. Practice day and day on them, right? With this poor kid, from a poor family in, just from a poor family, sorry, from, I think it was from Leicester or something like that, small market town. I came from a small market town, not far from Leicester, same sort of thing. Not a lot of money, just saved up his pocket money, and the only place he could practice was at the arcade. And the new version of Dance Dance Revolution, the latest, with the latest songs and stuff, came out, and they were the ones that were going to be used at this world tournament that he was going to. And about 2-3 weeks before he was going out there, the arcade that he used to go to in town shut down. And he was like, it's the only place he could practice. So he managed to convince them to sort of let him in before they took all the machines away for at least another week or so. Anyway, he goes there, and I think he gets to the semi-final of the World Champs, and there is the guy he plays puts in, he beats the guy he plays, and the guy he plays says, "Oh, I think there's a fault with the dance pad because it missed one of my footsteps. I swear I got it and I missed it." And they go back through the data, and it's not very clear. But they go, all right, well, so this American guy goes, no, we have to have a rematch. We have to rematch. And, you know, the officials go, okay, let's have a look at the data. And it's unclear. And so they go, okay, you'll have a rematch. They had a rematch. And then, unfortunately, this poor guy was livid, this English guy, livid, that they had to have a rematch because he felt he beat the guy fair and square. They had a rematch, and unfortunately, he didn't win the rematch. He didn't make it to the final. But they made a rule. So this guy's name was his sort of gaming tag was K-Dog, something like that, K-Dog. They, after that semi-final, the incident in the semi-final, they made a rule, the Dance Dance Revolution competitions, that you can't sort of claim a fault or something like that, so that there wouldn't be a rematch. They made this rule after he'd been, you know, he'd lost the rematch, but they made a rule and they called it the K-Dog rule. So his legacy, this poor little guy from Leicester or wherever it was, who used to practice Dance Dance Revolution, a Japanese dance game in the shopping mall or arcade centre in Leicester, has a rule named after him, and it was something like the K-Dog rule. I've never forgotten that because it really touched me. You're a bit touched, aren't you, mate? Anyway, there you go. Dance Dance Revolution. Love that game. A cryptic message here from Tom Warren. Microsoft will be banking on some new game announcements, lifting the doom around Xbox. Hint, hint. We'll see. This is that hypercharge thing I was saying earlier. And this also adds into this whole kind of Twitter and Reddit kind of stuff. People so negative out there. Just because our indie game, this is my hypercharged dev here, just because our indie game isn't on Game Pass doesn't mean it's dead on arrival. We hope you'll give our action figures game a try. And this is in response to somebody here going, your game is dead on arrival without Game Pass, lol. You should have just taken the Game Pass money, then you'd have a bit of player base that would actually end up buying the game. It's a bit harsh. And he goes on to, look, this guy, look, you saw him in tears because of the passion he's put into the game. And then you have to put up with stupid trolls. I'm quite shocked at how many trolls have come out at us for not launching on Game Pass. TikTok is the worst. But yeah, we believe our indie game is a fair price and will be worth the purchase. You know what? I'm going to buy this game. I'm going to buy the game just to support this guy, even if it's crap. I feel like I should support this guy. This isn't targeted at Xbox gamers, by the way. It's directed at trolls who can constantly criticize us and hate on the game for not being on Game Pass. We love Game Pass. It offers so many perks. But just because a game isn't on it doesn't mean it's not worth buying or trying. Let's not turn this into a PlayStation versus Xbox thing, all right? It's really about handling some pretty tough comments we keep getting. Terms like dead game, dead on arrival, and if it's not on Game Pass, we're not playing, pop up a lot. Why the negativity? Do you know what I mean? It pees me off. This guy's given his... I don't know this guy from Adam, right? But you could see the passion that he found it talking. When you believe in something and you start talking about it, I mean, things that I care about, not many things, but if I have to start talking about them, I can get quite emotional. So he obviously cares about it. Anyway, yeah, you have to put up a lot of crap when you put something out in the public domain. You have to put up with a lot of crap, don't you? Woo. It's a shame. I just want to make sure I've covered everything of interest off. Wow. Okay. More bad news. Bloomberg reported earlier this week There are whispers among Microsoft employees that Xbox Core Studios are next, with a fiscal announcement in June. That may be just, once you're in a company that are making layoffs, you start looking left and right, don't you? Seeing where that axe is being swung. Doesn't necessarily mean they're making any more, but it's going to give you a certain neurosis and, paranoia, isn't it? Yeah, we've done that one. Right, let's catch up on the comment. That's the game. Yeah, I thought that's what you were hinting at because I'd seen it sort of mentioned. Yeah. Doom's such a cool game, isn't it? Microsoft gamers should make sure their games are cross-play between Xbox and PC if they're doing this move. Exactly. I mean, you need cross-play. Yeah. Look, people love piling in, unless it captures the imagination. People love piling in. They need to get it on PC. It's a completely different community, the Xbox only. I can see, if you're talking about the hypercharge game, I can see it coming to other platforms. Xbox are probably giving them a bit of an advance, and if you're that's basically going to pay for all your sweat and tears for the last 2 years. Yeah. And then you hope that it sells enough. So you've had that advance, that it sells enough to kind of burn through that advance and then give you some additional dosh over and above it. But at least you've sort of paid yourself for that hard work over the last 2 years. They probably not, have had to subsidize themselves for a bit, depending when Xbox came in. If a publisher didn't come in, well, Xbox is the publishers. Xbox came in as a publisher. So it may well go, be on other platforms later down the line. I hope it works for them. I hope it's a good game after all this. But I feel like they said it's going to be at a good price. So what, 20 quid? 20, 30 quid? I might buy it just to support him, just to spite the trolls, because they get on my nerves. Yeah? Anyway, that's enough waffle from me, ladies and gentlemen. There's talk of a Switch 2. We can talk about that later. It's all about... Here we are. I'll just, look, for professional sake, let's quickly... We will make an announcement about the successor of Nintendo Switch. Might not be a Switch 2. Them. They'll come up with a different name. Within this fiscal year. It will have been over 9 years since we announced the existence of Nintendo Switch back in 2015. We'll be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding the lineup, but there'll be no mention of the successor. So there'll be no mention of the successor in June at the Nintendo Direct June. So we've got the Ubisoft Direct thing, we've got Xbox Direct thing, we've got Nintendo Direct thing. There'll be no announcement of the successor to Switch, but it will be announced later in the year. There we go. Covered it off. Anyway, there we go. Loads of news, loads of interesting things. So, yeah. Let's hope we have a good Xbox showcase. Xbox marketing are pushing it. Let's hope so. We're talking about the Hypercharge. Let's hope that Hypercharge, again, we've got a couple of weeks before that one launches. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you so much for joining me live on the Monday Game Chat. I hope you enjoyed that chat. I hope you had all that fun. Lord Kensal may well play some Honkai Star Rail later in the week, depending how tired I am. I've got some videos to make for my AI channel. Some interesting news. Some incredible robots and stuff, but also big open AI news today. and all of that. But that's a different channel. This is not the Clive Linden channel. That's my AI channel. So depending on how busy I am, will depend on whether Lord Kensas is available to do some streaming this week. But anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful week. Make sure you catch up with the GeForce Now news later in the week. And I'll see you same time, same place next week. Thank you for watching. Arigato.
Watching the Monday Game Chat with your host, Clive Illenden.
I just can't. You've been watching with me. Express enough. Hit that like, share around, and don't forget subscribe. I just can't. You've been watching, keep on watching, go please.